So it's the next day and I've done some work and whatnot, and I did go for a bit of a walk and the weather was nice. I just walked in my neighborhood, so yeah, just didn't show you because safety reasons. And I was able to export part of my Katapasa's vlog. Yeah, I had to split it up into two parts, which I talk too much and I probably went into too much detail, but there's this, I don't know, I think with that book there was just a lot I wanted to unpack. So yeah, and speaking of 2025 releases, I don't know, is that a good transition? Probably not. I did do quite a bit of reading of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, and I'm on page 440. And I do have to say, I am liking it now a bit. I'm definitely liking Lottie as a character, how she's unlike Sabrine in the sense Sabrine didn't really care about killing people, but she just wasn't someone who had empathy for other people, for other human beings. Like, straight away she just saw food. While Lottie, after she's turned by Sabrine, she can't help but feel guilt and grief over what she has to do to, I guess, survive, to eat, to not have that constant starving feeling. Like, she almost feels bad for having to do what she has to do. And so with Lottie, she chooses those of society who are evil, who might have done evil things, horrible things, who have horrible thoughts, who she considers horrible people. And later on in the novel, it's like someone tells her she can't be this person who eliminates the evil that she is. So, yeah. And when we get that scene of Sabrine turning Lottie, Sabrine brings in Lottie's first meal, which is George, the boy who proposed to a courtship with Lottie, even through the dance day handful of times, and is the reason she went to Sabrine and asked her to give her the freedom that Sabrine has. And Lottie, she can't bring herself to do it until Sabrine cuts his throat, and the smell just causes the hunger to take over, and she does kill him. And Sabrine tells her that they must move on, that Lottie must leave the past behind her, leave everything behind her in order to make their own future. And they're together for years when they move into this house where Lottie is from, which is in Hampshire. And before they move in, they, have to deal with the current residents of the house. And Lottie's already established she doesn't really have. She's unlike Sabrina in a sense, she doesn't enjoy the hunt, she doesn't enjoy killing. That she's only doing this because it's a necessity for her. And she kills the man quite quickly and she goes looking for Sabrine, and finds the wife tied in a chair, and Sabrine in a room with the daughter, a girl who's like younger than 13. And it looks like Sabrine has been playing with her food. Like, the girl has been tortured, there's bite marks on her. For Sabrine, it's not. Sabrine enjoys the fear people have when they know they're about to be killed, when they're about to have their blood drank. And this is Lottie now seeing a side of Sabrine she doesn't recognize, because Sabrine, she does become someone unrecognizable with the way her eyes are. Like, they go completely black, and that scares Lottie, who wants away to the house where she grew up, which is like a mile away. And she's in the garden, is noticing changes that have occurred in the last 50 so years since she's been there. And she runs into Jocelyn, who's sitting in a chair outside, and Jocelyn apologizes to her for being a coward and afraid. And Lottie goes home to Sabrina So Lottie was able to get closure there, which I did like. But when Lottie goes home to Sabrine, Sabrine tricks her and makes her promise she won't hurt her. And Lottie does make the promise who she doesn't understand why Sabrine has her make this promise. Like, we see how Sabrine will use the naivety that Lottie has about vampirism and not tell her things, keep things from her. It's not until later when Lottie does try to hurt Sabrine that she realizes Sabrine did trick her. And yeah, things go on and change with Sabrine growing grasses and hunting on her own, and she's just getting so fed up with the sympathy that Lottie has for people. Again, for Sabrine, food is food. While Lottie still has that very human side of her that hasn't died at all, that can't help but feel sad for people, even when there is a war, because we see glimpses of how they lived during the 2 world wars and how Lottie can't help but feel sad for those who are losing their lives. And Sabrine, she'll make a joke in a sense. She tells Lottie, who has killed more Englishmen, the Germans or you? And yeah, it's messed up. And one night when Lottie gets back to the house they're living in London, and this has been about 100 years since they've last been in London, she sees that Sabrine is covered in head to toes in blood, that she lost it completely, and she went too far, and that's when she tries to kill her, and Camden leaves. And with help of 2 friends they met earlier, she's able to leave London and Sabrine behind them. Lottie was expecting this cord between her and Sabrine to break, which it didn't, and I guess they will always have that connection as Sabrine is Lottie's maker. So yeah, we do see the toxicity of Sabrine and Lottie's relationship, how Sabrine won't let Lottie in and see her thoughts or know her past. Like, Sabrine keeps her mind completely locked from Lottie, and she'll give her glimpses or tell bits and pieces of her life, but very rarely does she mention anything about Maria. So, and it seems to me that Lottie, she depends on Sabrine, and with Lottie thinking that it's only her and Sabrine who are like the way they are, until they meet other vampires, then Sabrine grows extremely jealous and extremely possessive, and tells Lottie that she'll abandon her to be with these people, even though Lottie says no. It's quite controlling the way Sabrine acts, and making Lottie feel guilty for even considering the idea of having other friends, other companions besides Sabrine. And it just seems that Sabrine wants Lottie's whole world to revolve around her, and I'm extremely curious to see this aftermath of Sabrine and Lottie no longer together, of them being separated. Even that relationship, like, I don't know if it was lust or something that was drawing them together, because they are completely different in a sense. Sabrine has bits of her have been dying in them. I think it's been 300 or 400 years since she was turned. And Lottie, she's still a newish vampire, not really experienced much, but she still can't help but feel empathy for people, to feel sorry for people, to consider people as people and not just as food. So that is an aspect I do like, and I'm still curious on how all of this got to Lottie or Sabrine transforming Alice, who is upset still, who is extremely angry, and she has every right to be, because she was turned and killed, I guess, when her life was just beginning, because she left Scotland to get away from the idea that she's her older sister's little sister, that she's Katie's little sister, because that's all she was ever seen in their small town. She just wanted a fresh start, and well, she now does. What the fuck, she's a vampire, but it's not a fresh start that she wanted. She just wanted a proper fresh start to be someone that's not, oh, Katie's younger sister. Yeah, I get the anger she has, so yeah, I think now I'm actually enjoying this, and I am really much liking Lottie as a character, so yeah, I think that's all for now. So it's the next day, and I've done some work and whatnot, and I did have to go out today to make appointments. And while I was out, I went to a used bookstore that I think I've taken you to before. And I did get one book. I got The Frozen River by Aria Lahon, which I believe is about this woman made in 1789 who she is a midwife and a healer, and she kind of, I guess, assesses the death of someone who was pulled out of the river, as she had started an investigation or made a report, documented the details of an alleged rape committed by two of the town's most respected gentlemen, one of whom has now been found dead in the ice. And the local physician declares that it was an accident, and she decides to investigate it herself. So, yeah, I'm very interested in that. And today as well, I did a bit of reading, and I did finish Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V. and I liked it. Overall, I gave it 4 stars. We see how Lottie, she is in, I think, Venice after leaving Sabrina, and she meets this girl, and the two become close until one day Sabrina tracks her down and kills the girl. And we see how there's a cat and mouse game between Sabrina and Lottie, with Lottie trying to run from Sabrina to the point where she crosses the Atlantic Ocean to go to the US, something Sabrina declared she never wanted to do. We're not on because my arm is hurting. And yeah, she meets Ezra, and who's the friend that helps her, and she decides to go west, and she meets another girl, and falls in love with her, and Sabrina finds her again and turns the girl, and Lottie kills her because she never wanted to do that turn when she loves into what she is, something that they would have to depend on her and look to her. So she just killed her, and Lottie declares she will never have feelings again. She would rather be alone than lonely. Like, she is taught the differences between those two words, so she has a bunch of affairs and keeps track of all of those affairs in the empty pages of a book, Secret History, ironically. And she just checks on them to make sure that Sabrina hasn't turned them. Yeah, for some reason, it seems like Sabrina might have turned some of them or all of them, and Lottie just not noticing, because, I mean, what made Alice so different, if that was the case? And you see how Lottie, she uses Alice to get her revenge. She tells Alice that if she kills Sabrina, her maker, then she will get her life back. Except Alice does that, and like, she and Lottie, they're at a club pretending they're all over each other. When Sabrina finds Alice, takes her back to her penthouse, and Alice is able to kill Sabrina. Like, she has a few opportunities that's like where she's not able to, and she does. And Lottie reveals that, yeah, I lied to you, that you'll get a life back, but you won't get your life back. And that's not what Alice wanted. And Alice can now see that Lottie will be no better than Sabrina, and Alice is hellbent on revenge, and she kills Lottie. And yeah, and we do learn what drove Alice out of her small Scottish town into Harvard. Throughout the novel, we get flashbacks to her life with her sister and her relationship with her sister, how it seems like no one was really there for Katty, how their father would call her daft and whatnot, and no one really seemed to understand her. Like, her behavior got worse, she was acting out more, and to the point where she did run away, and in the end, Katty wasn't able to live the life she wanted. She wasn't able to be free and do whatever she wanted. She was in Glasgow, of all places, where at one point she called Alice and told her she was in London. And Katty's life ended by suicide, and she wasn't able to be free, be able to do what she wanted to be, where she wanted to go. And as Alice got older, and then I guess the age difference went away, and her being older than her older sister, she decided she would do what Katty wasn't able to do and be free and live a life that she always wanted. So yeah, I did like that a lot, and yeah, overall I did enjoy the ending and seeing the, I guess, toxicity of the relationship between Lottie and Sabrina, how anyway it did grow. It was subtle at first and then it got worse. So yeah, I think that's all my thoughts on that. Overall 4 stars, and I don't think I'll be doing any more reading tomorrow. I'm thinking that I will start Bloom by, I think it's Diala S. Dawson tomorrow. I will give the synopsis then, but yeah, that's all for now. So it's the next day, and I've just done some work and whatnot, and I did go for a bit of a walk, and again I just walked in my neighborhood, so yeah, and I'm glad I'm filming this update now, because my neighbor, he hires people to cut his grass, and they were just here, and they would have just been noisy, so I'm glad they're not here. But anyway, I did start a new book. I started Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. I'm currently, yeah, I see the synopsis. And this is about Rosemary, who meets Ash at the farmer's market. Ash, precise, pretty, and practically perfect, sells bars of soap in delicate pastel colors. Speckled cupcakes stacked on scalloped stems, beeswax candles, jelly jars of honey, and glossy green plants. Woe has never felt this way about another woman. With Ash, she wants to be her and have her in equal measure. But as her obsession with Ash consumes her, she may find she's not the one doing the devouring. And yeah, and I'm only on page 76, but I'm definitely intrigued. We meet Woe, who she does moved back to Georgia after completing her PhD in New York, and she works as an assistant professor at this university, and she didn't plan to move back to Georgia, where she's originally from, but her boyfriend of, I think, 3 years was cheating on her, she found out, and it upended, uprooted, I think, really is the term, her life, and she needed a somewhat fresh start. And Woe is kind of a loner, in the sense she learned really that when she woke up with her boyfriend that her friends were his friends, so yeah. And with the fact he cheated on her, this has left her with this inability to trust people and to be very wary of them, and she also doesn't have a good relationship with her mother, who doesn't understand Woe's love for words and books, and is upset that Woe didn't follow her plan and marry up. And this has caused a broken relationship between them, in a sense. Woe has blocked her mother's number. And so, yeah. When Woe, she's at a farmer's market, which happens every Saturday in town, and she sees Ash, and she's captivated, memorized, fascinated by Ash. Like, thinks she's extremely beautiful, and she even says in the book that she thought she was straight. Like, that's actually a line. So something about Ash is drawing her in, and we see how they start kind of, I guess, flirting and talking, and Ash is really the reason Wo is looking forward to every Saturday, because it means the farmer's market will occur, which means she will see Ash. And well, this is kind of a changing goal, because she is now dressing every Saturday to try and impress Ash or look similar to how she dresses. And you see how Ash keeps giving Wo reasons to come back and see her by saying, "Oh, tell me about the cupcakes," or "I'm gonna give you this plant and tell me how, and I want you not to overwater it, neglect it, and tell me how it does," that sort of thing. And we just see, so far we just see how they're kind of getting close. And one day, while Wo is watching the stove for Ash, a girl, Jessie, comes in, and another person, a man, he also comes in, but with Jessie, she seems to be wary of her and wants to learn if there's history there. And as well with the man, the reason I'm bringing in about this, she sees a different side of Ash when she's talking to him, a random customer, because Ash, her persona kind of changes. Like, she'll put on a fake smile and whatnot, and with, well, it seems real. So that is interesting. And we see really Wo's obsession with knowing who Ash is, as Ash doesn't have much about her online. And she assumes Ash is short for Ashley or something, but no, there's nothing. And as Wo pays for her purchases in Ash's store and credit card, she should be able to see the business, and it says Ash. I don't know the business name, I'm sorry. But the business has no social media, no website, nothing. And Ash invites Wo to her house, and it's like very fairy tale-esque, something that is like from the Secret Garden, very whimsical. And she explains to Wo that, oh yeah, that house, it was her grandmother, she inherited it, that her grandmother was the one who raised her, because her mother had her when she was extremely young, and the mother didn't even know who the father was, and the mother went away, so it was this Ash and the grandmother. And the grandmother taught Ash everything she knows, and Ash explains that she does everything by hand, on her own. I don't know, Ash, in a way, is a bit of, I guess, what you would call a hippie or hipster, just because she doesn't use social media, which makes sense, and I can get why, because you don't get the beauty of the world just by looking at videos of cats falling off tables, which I get. And Ash also explains she doesn't have her business online to avoid like anonymous negative reviews who've probably never bought anything from her site, and to be sure that her customers get what they buy, like nothing gets lost in the mail. So, and she doesn't, it seems like, understand, or that Wo is a bit self-conscious, because Wo, who is a professor, show have students, my word, what is wrong with me, come to our office and just complain and try and raise their grade and whatnot. She has to deal with that, and then they'll leave negative reviews because they didn't do their work. So, a bit negativity there. And Wo, she cannot help but be curious about Ash, and she goes snooping into Ash's bedroom, which upsets Ash. And this is when the relationship begins, because they're both drawn to each other, and they both, I do like this bit, draw boundaries. In a sense, Ash makes it clear she likes her privacy, she likes to be left alone, and she desires to, not be having someone snip around. And whoa, she's in a position where she needs someone she can fully trust. She needs to ensure that she doesn't get cheated on again. And they are straight, which is something I love, but with Jesse's, I don't know if this is this was obsession with knowing everything about Ash or what, but she's trying to see if there's something there. And Jessie is a college student at the same college that is a professor at, and as part of her job, she has to go and see some musical, which is just a bunch of random lines of dialogue and music and numbers put together. It's not one. It's not like it's a play or anything. And she sees how Jessie performs and thinks, okay. And she thinks that if there was something there, it would be on Jessie's social media, as she's not shy about being vocal about her previous relationships and whatnot online. Like, the only thing that links Jessie and Ash online is Jessie taking a bite of Ash's cupcake that she sells, and she doesn't even say anything about the business. So yeah, there's that. And there is something I'm curious if it will come into place, that there are girls who are going missing in town, and we see 2 instances of this. I'm not sure if it's like the same thing, the same girl going missing, or if it's multiple girls. But when Woe is leaving a farmer's market, she finds a flyer under her windshield, and it's a missing person's flyer. And then a mother goes up to her and asks her if she's seen her daughter, and Woe doesn't really think much of this, because with her own messed up flawed relationship, I guess, with her mother, she thinks, oh, it could simply be like the girl was run away, and because of an argument, or they cut off their mother because of something that was said, and the mother regrets it and wants to find it her. And she thinks it's something as simple as that, but something in me is telling me it's not that simple, and I'm very much curious on how this plays out. So yeah, I am curious on really just seeing more of Ash's and Woe's relationship, and how far Woe's obsession with Ash and her past will go. So yeah, I think that's over now. So it's the next day, and so far I've done some work and whatnot, and as you saw, I did have to go out today. I just had to run a couple of errands and whatnot, and I've not been feeling well today. It is the time of the month for me. Usually the first day is usually when my grumps are the worst. So yeah, I've been dealing with that today, but it is what it is. And besides so that, I did do quite a bit of reading, and I did finish Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson, and I liked it, especially the ending. Yeah, I always feel weird using the word like, because like means I enjoyed it. Like, I had a good time when this is not a book you have fun with. Like, but yeah, I gave it 4 stars. We see how Ash invites Woe to have dinner at her house, and we learn a bit of her childhood, how essentially her grandmother taught her not to get attached to her chickens, who once they finish laying eggs, she'll have to eat them and slaughter them, by having her kill a chicken she was attached to. And, yeah, and we and Woe see a different side of Ash when a raccoon comes out of the bushes, and Ash knows he's been eating her chickens, and she goes inside, grabs a shovel, and beats him to death. And Woe thinks it is unnecessary, but Ash thinks it does, because, I mean, those chickens, and they're her income, essentially, her life. And without them, she'll lose the house. And yeah, we see how this frightens Whoa, and upsets Ash because she's afraid that Whoa went away, and Whoa decides to stay with Ash, and they have dinner, and whatnot. Ash is quite traditional, like she won't allow Whoa to eat until they've said their prayers and whatnot. And that night, Whoa is staying over because she's had a bit too much to drink and is no stay to drive. And she's in a spare room, and she gets extremely sick that night and thinks it's just a bug going around, as Ash ate the same food and is fine. It's not like Ash tried to poison her, is it? Well, yeah. And the next day, before Wall goes back to her house, Ash asks if she would like to hike, and Wall agrees. They meet on a trail and they hike, and they start to kiss and whatnot. And they notice that this creep is taking pictures of them, and this pisses off Ash, who chases him and tackles him. She takes his thing, and this impresses Will because this guy's like probably twice the weight that Ash is and much taller than she is, and that she's able to tackle him and scare him. But yeah, she takes his phone, deletes all of the pictures he has, which includes pictures of underage girls at the pool, which yikes is all I have to say, and throws his phone and keys over the water. And we learn that Ash, she went through a rebellious phase when she was a teenager and did have a phone, laptop with that whole technology shipping that her grandmother looked down upon. And she realizes actually grandma was right, and that's when she got rid of it. But yeah, and they continue their hike and are alone, and they start kind of making out and whatnot. And Mo realizes she feels this vulnerability with Ash that she has never felt with a guy she's been with before. She thinks she knows what a guy wants, which is this sex and whatnot. But with Ash, she doesn't know what Ash wants. If Ash wants that from her, I don't know, that whole thing, like, it's this generalizing guys. They all do the same, they all want the same thing in the end, which, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that, just cause, yeah. And, yeah, they finish their hike, make plans for dinner, and they see the guy still is in his car in a parking lot, and Will feels weary of leaving Ash on her own with him, and Ash reassures him she'll be fine, and Will she continues to persist, worried about Ash, and Ash starts to get a bit upset as she doesn't like to be naggered or mothered and expects Will to trust her, and Will does. However, when Will gets to Ash's that night, she sees the ashes in there, and Ash is like, oh, I just lost my keys. And we get the scene with she bathes Will, who for some reason she has Will completely blindfolded. I don't know, so that Will won't see Ash's, but we know she has mentioned she has struggled with body image issues in the past, so I'm guessing the same thing is with Ash, and that's just her way of not feeling so vulnerable around because we do later learn that she has been isolated all her life, so she's not good with people, not good relationships, so it's probably also her feeling a bit self-conscious, I'm guessing. But we see them bathing. We see how Ash bathes Will and takes care of her. There is a couple weird stuff. One that made me think, what? How is this sexy? Is Ash notices an eyelash fell on Will's cheek, and she takes it off. Will, who's peeking under the mask, like, oh yeah, Ash put it on her tongue and swallowed it. It's romantic, like there's a part of me inside her. I'm like, pardon? That's not attractive. But hey, we all have our own thing. But Whoa, that night uses the bathroom and notices that her nails that Ash clipped off are on the bathroom floor. They're on the floor. And she takes it as simply as, oh, Ash doesn't waste anything. And we see more sides of Ash, how when she told Woe to not bother her when she's working, Woe shows up with a gift, and this heavily upsets her. Like, I get that she should be upset with her telling Woe, oh, I don't want to be distracted by my work. Please don't show up to my house on these days because I will be working. And Woe does that. Like, I get being upset, but I feel like Ash got upset on a whole other level that was just a bit, I don't know, out there, I don't know. And yeah, they argue. Ash tells her she's sorry, and I don't know, Woe sees this as a good thing because it means they're communicating. And Ash gives Woe a typewriter and asks her to write her a letter with Ash's, I guess, prompting. Woe writes a poem and decides to drive all the way to Ash's house, leave it in her mailbox, and that's when she sees a letter that's addressed to Elizabeth Gund. That is Ash's grandmother, who Woe doesn't question if is still alive. If she's dead, why is it that the lady receiving letters? And as well, where is the grandmother? Unless she's in a nursing home, but yeah, this is when, and she tries to use different versions of what Ash could be short for, and named Gund, and realizes that there's no presence of Ash online. Like, even if she has no social media, there should be still a trace of her. It's like she's a complete ghost, and I was like, I'm dating someone who doesn't exist. So yeah, and when Woe goes to the market that Saturday, she sees Ash is talking to a customer, and this upsets her as she sees Ash is smiling, acting a certain way. Like, it's a bit irrational the way she is. And she bothers Ash while she's talking to this customer, and this angers Ash greatly so, but they argue. Woe doesn't talk to Ash for a few days, and till Ash calls and apologizes, explains she's not good with people as she was raised in isolation. She's had high boundaries and upset when people try to pass them, and she'll let Woe in, but not all the way, which, I don't know, there was like some things that was just a bit over the top with, because I think Ash was right to be upset and angry because, I mean, this is her income, this is her business. Like, so, yeah, and Woe goes to Ash and stays with her when the power goes out due to a storm. And it's extremely hot, and Woe wants hot in her sleep, so she goes to look for the breaker to turn the fan back on, and she opens the door that Ash explicitly told her not to open, and goes into the basement, where she sees basically an operation room set up, and on a table is the man who took pictures of them with his legs cut off. So yeah, Woe sees the torture chamber as well that Ash has created, and realizes Ash is the reason people are going missing, and she really doesn't let anything go to waste as she uses them in her plans, and she melts them down for lard and for her cupcakes and candles, like, so this, yeah. And we learned that Ash was definitely heavily abused as a child, that her grandmother taught her in certain ways that she should never allow anything to go to waste. And yeah, and when Ash finds her, she has killed the guy from the trail. And I don't know, it was weird because was so I guess obsessed with Ash, and thinks she's in love with her, and she kills him as they're in it together now. So yeah, we see how in all the way she is with Ash, with allowing her to be her whole world, and how that changes woes Mary, and what Ash does to her to prevent her from leaving or gain help. So yeah, the book ends in a certain way, but yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. It was quite interesting. It was definitely suspenseful, and yeah, I don't know. This is definitely a book of obsession. I don't really think it's of love. This a toxic relationship, honestly, where it's a bit messed up. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's all of my feelings, and I'm debating ending this video here now. As tomorrow Saturday, I typically end my vlog Saturday, but I think it would be a bit weird to start a new book then and then continue on. Yeah, I think that's what I will actually do. I don't know, it is like a full week, I don't know why, but yeah, I think that's all for now. So it's the next day, and as you saw, I did go out today. A town near me was hosting this tag sale event, and I decided just to check it out. I didn't buy anything through a lot of very beautiful things were sold, but I tried to be intentional what I buy, so yeah, and after that I just did some grocery shopping, and this is a PSA that if you've not gotten your flu or COVID vaccinations, please do so for your health and for other people's health. I'm only mentioning that now just because a grocery store I go to has a pharmacy, and I just simply did my flu and COVID shots there, so yeah, I feel okay through, I expect some pain in my arm, but that's not bad. But yeah, and yeah, I think that's all I've really done today. So yeah, quite a long day, quite beautiful, and then it's getting home quite hot. Like, it was supposed to be a bit cooler than yesterday, because yesterday was like 81, and today was supposed to be lower 70s, but my word, so hot. Or I was overdressed. Probably overdressed a bit, not too much, but yeah. And I did start a new book. I started Goblin by Josh Malerman, and this is about Goblin. Seems like any other ordinary small town, but with master storyteller Josh Malerman as your tour guide. You'll discover the secrets that hide behind its closed doors. The 6 novellas tell the story of a place where the rain is always falling, nighttime is always near, and your darkest fears, desires await. Welcome to Goblin. And with this, it seems like it's supposed to be broken up into 6 short stories, and we did get like a prologue of this guy named Tom, who's a truck driver, and he was tasked with delivering this package to an address in Goblin, Michigan. And he was left with instructions like, make sure you deliver that package at 12 o'clock, and if no one is home to accept it at 12:30, you destroy it. Don't open the package. Don't open the door to the truck. Don't stop. Like a whole list of instructions, and strange things when he's making his deliveries are happening. And at one point he does hear a voice, and he's wondering what he just drove into Goblin. So I am curious about that. And with the first novella, we meet Richard, and Richard has this friend named Charles, who, just by looking at Charles, you know he's gonna be trouble. Nothing like extremely trouble, like, but he can be troublesome, I guess. Like when they were kids, they were at this swim camp, and Charles hid under a dog and it freaked everyone out. And yeah, he's just... Richard has always had to keep Charles out of trouble, something that Charles' family likes, as Charles doesn't have any other friends, and Richard thought once they're in college they'll stop being friends, but that is not the case. And now Charles just confessed a crime, I guess. Yeah, a crime to Richard. And Richard isn't sure what he's supposed to do. Essentially, Charles was at a family wedding when he met this girl named Andy. And Andy lives in Minneapolis, in Michigan, in Minnesota. And to prove... And for Charles to prove her love to her, she wants him to cut off his toe and send it to her. I'm sorry, what? Why? Like, you just started dating, like, that's a bit much. But Charles, he thinks he's in love with her, and he tries to cut off his toe, and when he puts his hand on it, he's like, I can't do this, and he goes to the morgue and finds a body, and the body's like a dude who's much older than him, but he thinks, it's the only body here, no, Andy won't notice. Yeah, he cuts off the guy's toe, and that's where we got it. Yeah, like, I don't know what to think about this book so far, as I am only 62 pages in. I don't know, I don't really feel anything for these characters, I guess. Like, it's fine so far, I would say. So, yeah, that's really it. I am curious in what is coming to Goblin, if there's something spooky that will happen, or if the horror is just this small town and the people who live in it, I mean. So, yeah, that's my thoughts so far, and now this is the end of the video. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, tell me what you've been up to recently. If you want to, please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to follow me on any social media, then all those things are down bar below. I'll see you guys next time I post a video. Bye.